So having a back and forth with Brother Edward on Telegram, I'll give you a video of the dogs there, but having a back and forth with the Brother Edward on Telegram and talking about, and it's something that, came up in the stream of consciousness, because yesterday I was, during the voice note, I was thinking about this because yesterday I was walking and listening to a video about people doing debt repayments when it comes to the school loan debts and stuff like that, and how you can't, can't write that off in bankruptcy and all this other stuff, and what that's going to do to people, their credit moving forward, getting housing, rental, whatever, blah, 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 right? And I connected that with a couple weeks ago, the back and forth that was happening on Black social media, especially where Black men are not enrolling in college. But this is really all men not enrolling in college, because some people have stated that as well. But mainly, when I connect those two things and we talk about female nature and the fragility of female nature, and how, I got like 5 minutes, and how fragile the female psyche can be, and the things that they put up in place. We call it delusion, and now it's starting to turn into, in some cases, stupidity, because they just won't let certain things go, in terms of actually being better and being more adaptable, so on and so forth. And they're holding hard to some of these thought processes. But think about the independent, to speed it up here, but think about the independent boss babe, boss chick that, has her own everything and all this other stuff, but has a ton of school loan debt and has other debt, buys the purses that she wants and gets all this other stuff. And she's living off credit. Now, not all of them, of course. We have men and women that are not doing these things. They're playing it right. They're in the David Ramsey school of thought and everything else, right? So, but think about the ones that are not doing this, right? And then, which sadly from the numbers, it's quite a few. But what's going to happen to them mentally when it comes to dealing with all of these different things? And the about face that I prophesize will happen. We've talked about men not going to school, men in general not going to school, but then we also see a lot of these zillennials are going back to your trade jobs, welding, woodwork, and all these other things that we're taking out of schools, like your lower education, elementary school, middle school, high school. And now people are going back to them because there has been, There has been a lot of weakness in the foundation, instability. There we go. Instability in terms of the job market for, your IT, tech, white collar jobs, even if you're a secretary, real estate, paper pushers, whatever you want to call this, and I'm a part of that. So because of that instability, now they have moved to blue collar trades and all this other stuff. Okay, cool. If you're moving to blue collar trades, great. Oh, wow. Okay. Sorry. Moving to blue collar trades, cool. No problem. But what we might see is the about face when these women have to start paying, and this might be actually pretty soon. I was saying in a couple years, that they're going to have to start paying these school loans back, or they're going to be negatively affected when it comes to credit. And of course, even certain utilities, if you have a bad credit score or something like that, you're going to have to pay some type of down payment to deal with it. Or even if you're dealing with, just trying to get an apartment, you can't even afford, you already can't even afford the first, last, and security. Now it's going to be where, they're going to be asking for, now it's going to be where it's like, hey, listen, first, last, security, and good credit, good standing. Oh, we see that you have all these college loans. Well, what are you going to do about that? Now your rent's going to be affected. Now you might have, not interest rates, but you might have a higher rent cost because now you're an at-risk renter, right? Or unstable renter. So things like that are going to happen. And I think what's going to happen is that we're going to see people turn around and say, yeah, it wasn't worth it for me to get this degree because X, Y, and Z. And then they're going to be like, all these same men, they're going to be going to these men that didn't go to college, that went for their trades, that have good credit or decent credit that can get a house and all this other stuff and then attach themselves to it. So I think being prophetic here, so to speak, or just connecting the dots, not even being prophetic, we're going to see more of this where people are going to say, hey, listen, men didn't go to college, but men are also not having the same problems. Crazy. All right. Peace.